Welcome, everyone. Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, I'm going to talk about my contact with another famous person called Ronnie Reagan. So, while I was going to school up in Santa Barbara, he has a ranch near there. And people who were working for the school or needed jobs could get occasional work up there on a few days on the weekends and or during the week because he had an active working ranch there. So one of these opportunities came up, and I worked there for a few times. I don't know, 5 or 6 times total, living there in about a year. It was just a short little work, and while I did see him a couple of times, I never really had any conversations with him. They didn't parade you up there and say, "Oh, come and have a drink with me." So let's talk. This was just another job, and of course, you had to go through some little checks and other things. But I forget what year this was, sometime in the early 80s, I'm not sure. So the whole idea is that there was a lot of talk about him in general there, because like any celebrity, there is talk about them. What's going on up there? What's happening? Who is this guy? Because, he was governor of California for at least 2 terms as well. So these are all part of something that is a kind of a celebrity, on top of the fact that he was an actor, which some people liked, and certainly his films were out there, and people used to laugh at the facts of, I think it was Bedtime for Bonzo, which was a chimp that he starred in a movie with. I think he made 2 of those, these kind of little fun comedy films, but people would always point that out as, oh yeah, we remember that goofy guy. But one of the important things that I came to find out there was people had a lot of talk about him not being there most of the time, meaning the fact that he had all sorts of problems, that he would not know where he was at. He was confused. Now, this was pre-Alzheimer's time, so people didn't think of that. They used to call it dementia or senility, old age. It was also understood that he wasn't all that physically fit and that he enjoyed riding on his ranch, but he generally didn't do anything, and he had to be helped on and off of his horse. I said, well, that's interesting. So this was common knowledge with anybody who worked there, and also common knowledge kind of in the community of Santa Barbara and around there, that that he was not really in very good physical shape, and had these episodes where he didn't know where he was at. Now, these continued into the White House and beyond with him. So, many times, from what it's understood from people that I know of, in terms of and records from different other people, is that he had limited contact. He wouldn't even go to work until 11 or 12 o'clock in the day, from what I understand. So they kept him well rested and out of the public view, because there were times when he wasn't very coherent, and they would cancel things and everything that goes with that. So this was a quite common situation. Now that we're getting into a time where we have a bunch of old men in there, is something to really think about. What is going on here, and why do we have all these codgers here? There are physical problems, not to mention there is cultural problems, because they come from a world that is completely different from what today is. So all of this needs to be taken in consideration and understood, so that we know what's going on here. But physical health is something that is a serious problem with people that have enormous amount of power. The other thing, of course, by Reagan is that he was heavily involved and was with psychics and astrologers, and this again was kept down to a small understanding, but he was very big into that. He liked the mysticism of it. He felt it was very tried and true. And apparently even Peter Herkos worked with him on many different occasions. And of course, these things are all kept on the down low. But from what I understand, there was a lot of things that were changed. He wouldn't do certain things on certain days. He made sure that if he had to make political moves and other things, that these were done on the proper astrological times and from input from psychics. It wasn't just astrology, there was other input that he took seriously, which is very interesting. And this has been the case with a lot of different presidents who had different advisors or people in the White House at different times. From my understanding, the Clintons had a lot of psychics and other people there, which is interesting to note. It's also interesting to note with Ronald Reagan's record is that he tripled the national debt. When he left, because the economy was just in the toilet, his first 4 years he tried to put together his nonsense of his policies, which didn't work. The entire country tanked. With that, the only thing he could do was then create the evil empire, this fake war with the Russians. And, of course, that means millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars, actually, in military spending, which, of course, made the economy shoot through the roof for a period of time. But to do this, he had to triple the national debt. So all these people that think he was a fiscal conservative, yeah, he was in his first 4 years, and he tanked the entire country. After that, he tripled the national budget. And I think that deficit, I think he was the first one really to do that, which is interesting to note in modern times. So all of the stuff that you think you know and everything else, well, you don't know. You have no idea what's going on. You're living an urban myth. And here's another great light and beacon of gnosis coming from guess who. Until next time.